The discovery of King Richard II, a 1500-word historical account. Beneath this ordinary parking lot in Leicester lies an extraordinary secret one that lay buried for over 5 centuries. He was the last English king to die in battle, a monarch whose name became synonymous with villainy and betrayal. Immortalized by Shakespeare, demonized by history, but was he truly the monster we've been told he was? In 2012, a team of archaeologists and an unlikely champion set out on a mission to find the truth. What they uncovered stunned the world. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating tale of King Richard II, from his dramatic rise and tragic fall to the modern-day quest that unearthed his long-lost remains. Get ready for a story that blends history, archaeology, and a bit of detective work. Let's begin. In the early 21st century, an incredible archaeological and historical discovery amazed the world, revealing the final chapter of one of England's most debated monarchs. King Richard II, the last Plantagenet king of England and the final English king to die in battle, had long been a topic of controversy. Often portrayed negatively in Tudor propaganda, immortalized by Shakespeare as a deformed villain, and surrounded by mystery for centuries, Richard's story seemed largely settled until a parking lot in Leicester became the unexpected site of a royal revelation. Richard II ruled for just 2 years, from 1483 to 1485, before he was killed at the Battle of Bosworth field, a pivotal conflict that concluded the Wars of the Roses and marked the beginning of the Tudor dynasty under Henry VII. After his death, Richard's body was reportedly taken to Leicester and buried at Greyfriars Church. However, the dissolution of the monasteries under Henry VII in the 16th century led to the destruction of the friary, and over time, the location of Richard's grave faded from public memory. Rumors and legends circulated, some claimed his bones were tossed into the River Soar, while others speculated that his tomb had been lost. Eventually, the whereabouts of his remains became one of British history's great mysteries. The quest to find Richard's lost grave began not with professional archaeologists, but with a historian and Ricardian enthusiast named Philippa Langley. A member of the Richard II Society, Langley believed that Richard had been unjustly maligned by history and aimed not only to restore his reputation, but also to uncover his final resting place. Her journey started with extensive historical research, examining old maps and documents that suggested the possible location of the Greyfriars Priory. Her investigations led her to a municipal car park behind the Leicester Social Services building. Despite skepticism from many academics, Langley remained determined, fueled by a deep conviction and a personal connection to Richard. In 2020, excavating an urban site buried beneath centuries of construction was a daunting task. Yet, on the very first day of the dig, something extraordinary happened. Within hours, the team discovered a skeleton beneath the asphalt. While cautious in their optimism, the archaeologists noted several intriguing features. The skeleton was male, buried in a hastily dug grave without a coffin, and positioned awkwardly, suggesting a non-ceremonial burial. More significantly, the spine of the skeleton showed severe scoliosis, a condition that could have caused one shoulder to be higher than the other, aligning with historical descriptions of Richard's appearance. Over the following weeks, the remains were carefully excavated and sent for detailed analysis. Scientists conducted radiocarbon dating, which placed the skeleton in a correct time frame, the late 15th century. Forensic analysis revealed that the individual had suffered multiple fatal injuries, including a severe blow to the back of the head and several wounds consistent with battle trauma. The skull showed evidence of a blade that had sliced off part of the back, suggesting he had died in combat, possibly after losing his helmet. These findings corresponded with contemporary accounts of Richard II's death at Bosworth. Still, the team needed conclusive proof. In one of the most dramatic applications of modern science to medieval history, geneticists turned to mitochondrial DNA, which is passed from mother to child. They traced the living maternal descendants of Richard's eldest sister, Anne of York, and compared their DNA to that extracted from the skeleton. The match was confirmed, providing undeniable evidence that the remains were indeed those of King Richard II. The announcement was made in February 2013, sending shockwaves across the academic community and the public alike. After more than 500 years, the last English king to die in battle had been found. The implications of the discovery were enormous. It was not only a triumph of interdisciplinary collaboration merging archaeology, history, forensics, and genetics, but also a transformative moment in reassessing Richard IUI's legacy. For centuries, he had been depicted as the ultimate villain, most famously by Shakespeare, who portrayed him as a hunchbacked tyrant responsible for the murder of his nephews, the princes in the Tower. While the exact truth of those allegations remains debated, the rediscovery of Richard's remains humanized him in a profound way. Here was not a monster of legend, but a king whose body had been disrespected after death, and whose story had been shaped by the victors of a bitter civil war. Following the identification, a new discussion arose. Where should Richard II be reburied? Some advocated for York Minster, honoring Richard's loyalty to the north of England and his family's heritage. Others supported reinterment in Westminster Abbey, alongside other monarchs. Ultimately, the decision was made to rebury him in Leicester Cathedral, close to where he was originally laid to rest. The reburial, held in March 2015, was a solemn and dignified event attended by members of the royal family, church officials, and dignitaries, along with thousands of members of the public. His remains were placed in a specially designed tomb within the cathedral, a fitting final resting place for a king whose story had been lost and then rediscovered. The discovery also sparked renewed interest in the period of English history known as the Wars of the Roses. New documentaries, books, and academic studies emerged, exploring the life and times of Richard II with fresh perspectives. The find prompted critical reevaluation of Tudor-era sources and sparked a broader conversation about historical bias and narrative construction. For Ricardians, it was a moment of validation. For historians and archaeologists, it showcased the power of perseverance, evidence-based inquiry, and the unexpected connections between past and present. In the city of Leicester, the impact of the discovery was immediate and enduring. The site of the original grave was preserved, and a new visitor center was constructed near the car park, featuring exhibitions on Richard's life, death, and rediscovery. The local economy experienced a tourism boom, with visitors from around the world coming to see where history had quite literally been unearthed. The story of the king under the car park captured the imagination of millions, serving as a vivid reminder that history is not static, but a living dialogue between what was and what we now understand. The tale of Richard IUI's rediscovery is remarkable not only for its outcome, but also for the way it unfolded. It was driven by passion and dedication, led not by governments or institutions, but by individuals who believed in the importance of truth, memory, and historical justice. It proved that even after half a millennium, the past can be reached, its voice can be heard, and its secrets can be uncovered with the right blend of determination and technology. In the end, the discovery of Richard II was more than just the unearthing of a monarch's bones. It was a rediscovery of a man, a moment, and a monarchy. It bridged the medieval and the modern, challenged accepted truths, and invited the world to look again at history, not as a fixed account, but as a story still unfolding. Richard's journey from battlefield to obscurity, from legend to rediscovery, is a powerful testament to how history remembers, forgets, and remembers again. Thank you for joining us for the discovery of King Richard II.